All right, ready to dive into Palantir's Q3 numbers. A lot to unpack, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
This report really shows how Palantir is becoming a major player in AI, especially in the U.S.
For sure.
Their revenue hit $726 million,
A 30% jump year over year.
and that exceeded guidance by almost 450 basis points.
And what's interesting is their U.S. business just exploded.
Yeah, up 44% year over year.
Crazy.
And they're directly attributing that growth to AI.
Yeah, the AI revolution, as they call it.
Right, and it's not just talk.
No, it's reflected across both their commercial and government sectors.
Yeah, U.S. commercial revenue up 54%.
And U.S. government revenue saw its strongest growth in 15 quarters.
Wow.
At 40% year over year.
And they joined the S&P 500 in September.
Yeah, that's a really big deal.
Seems like a clear sign they've made it.
Absolutely a huge milestone.
Speaking of milestones, their adjusted operating margin expanded to 38%,
And they brought in $435 million in adjusted free cash flow.
which is a 60% margin.
And that's significant because it's the first time Palantir has achieved over $1 billion in adjusted free cash flow.
On a trailing 12-month basis.
Exactly.
We've got strong revenue growth, expanding margins, and tons of cash flow.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about Palantir right now?
They're in a really powerful position.
To invest.
Yeah, they have the resources to really take advantage of the AI revolution.
Now, one thing that really stood out to me in this earnings call was this concept of the commoditization of cognition. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah. So basically, Ryan Taylor, their chief revenue officer, said that AI models themselves are becoming more and more available.
Okay.
And it's becoming less about building them and more about how you apply them.
So it's like having all the ingredients for a gourmet meal, but not knowing how to cook.
Exactly. Palantir is positioning themselves as the chef.
Okay.
So focusing on implementation, workflow integration, and delivering results.
And not just proof of concepts.
Exactly. And they're backing this up with some impressive examples like that insurance underwriting case study.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
So during the call, they highlighted how Palantir's AI solutions helped an insurance company reduce a process that normally took 2 weeks down to just 3 hours.
Wow. 2 weeks down to 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's the kind of impact that gets executives' attention.
For sure. And it really shows Palantir's speed to value focus.
Which is so important in the AI space.
Yeah, clients want to see real results and they want to see them fast.
Exactly, and Palantir gets that.
This emphasis on real-world results also seems to be really working with their government clients.
Oh, absolutely.
Which brings us to the huge surge in U.S. government revenue.
Right up 40% year over year.
The strongest growth in 15 quarters.
A lot of this is driven by the adoption of Palantir's AI solutions.
Like Maven.
Yeah, Maven.
Which is their AI system designed for military intelligence and operations.
Right.
And Maven has been making headlines.
For sure, for its ability to really enhance military capabilities.
And they just got a new 5-year Maven contract with the U.S. military.
Yeah, and Vice Admiral Frank Whitworth said that this partnership is tantamount to ensuring that we keep America safe and ready.
Powerful stuff.
Really, it's clear that Palantir's technology is vital to national security.
Yeah.
And this contract shows they're a key partner to the U.S. military.
And speaking of partners, I was interested by how they're now collaborating with other defense contractors instead of competing with them.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, they're working with companies like Anduril Shield AI and L3 Harris.
Yeah, CEO Alex Karp even said that the shift has made Palantir an ally in tech innovation.
Makes sense.
It's a clever approach that lets them reach more of the market.
And build relationships to get government contracts.
Exactly, a total win-win.
So we've got Palantir with strong performance, a clear AI strategy, and these strategic partnerships that are helping them grow. But during the earnings call, one analyst brought up a good point about balancing continued investment in AI with staying profitable.
Right. How do you keep growing and make money at the same time?
Exactly. So how did Palantir respond?
Well, both Alex Karp and Shyam Sankar, their CTO, said that their main goal is to build the best products,
Okay.
not chasing quick profits.
So they're being selective about their customers.
Very much so, focusing on titans, the leaders in their industries.
It's like they're saying we'd rather have a few big, impactful partnerships than 1,000 mediocre ones.
Exactly. And so far, it's working for them.
And it lets them use their expertise and resources more effectively.
Which helps them keep those high margins.
It's like a cycle where focusing on high-value partnerships actually makes them more profitable.
Right.
It's a smart approach.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot here, from the numbers to the strategic side of Palantir's AI-driven growth.
We have.
Anything else stand out to you?
Well, we haven't talked much about their international business. While their U.S. business is booming, their international revenue only grew at 8% year over year.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah, so are they moving away from international markets?
Good question.
Well, during the call, they actually said they see big long-term opportunities internationally.
Especially in things like defense and intelligence.
Right, and remember, Palantir is very strategic about how they grow.
It's not just about getting the biggest numbers.
Exactly. They focus on building deep partnerships with important players in their target markets.
So we might see them push harder on international expansion in the next few quarters.
Yeah, as they solidify their position in the U.S.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, before we move on, I wanted to go back to Alex Karp's comment about the philosophical side of AI.
Yeah, me too.
It was a reminder that AI isn't just tech. It's about the big questions of what it means to be human in a world that's becoming more automated.
Yeah. And as AI keeps advancing, these questions are going to be even more important.
Things like the nature of work, the role of human intelligence.
And even the potential for AI to change how we understand consciousness itself.
It's both exciting and a little scary to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah, for sure. But one thing's certain, we're living in a time of crazy technological change.
And companies like Palantir are leading the way.
They're not just building AI solutions, they're changing what's possible.
Yeah, and making us rethink what the future will look like.
It's been a great deep dive into Palantir's earnings report.
Yeah.
What's your main takeaway?
That Palantir is showing that AI isn't just hype.
They're proving the real value of AI getting results for their clients and changing the world.
Exactly.
And they're doing it with a clear plan, strong financials, and a commitment to pushing the limits.
For sure.
So with their big growth in the U.S. and all these government contracts, I wonder what new markets and partnerships they'll go after next quarter.
That's a great question, and one we'll be watching closely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Palantir's Q3 2024 earnings.
Until next time, stay curious. You know, with all these open source AI models coming out, it makes you wonder, where does that leave Palantir?
Right on the surface, it seems like open source could hurt them.
Yeah, so what did they have to say about it?
Exactly.
Well, Alex Karp and Shyam Sankar were pretty clear. They know that open source AI is growing, but they said Palantir is different because they know how to integrate these models into complex situations.
So it's not just giving people the tools.
No, it's about having the expertise to actually use those tools to get results.
Like that chef analogy again.
Exactly. They're the master chefs taking those open source ingredients and making something amazing for their clients.
It shows how they're standing out in the AI world.
Right. And this is where their approach to data, their ontology really matters.
Right, they talk about ontology a lot.
Yeah, but basically it means they really understand how data connects.
Which lets them create these super customized AI solutions.
Exactly. With the ontology, they can go beyond just recognizing patterns. They can actually understand what the data means and what it tells us.
So it's not just about automating things.
It's about helping people make smarter decisions and solve tough problems.
In ways we couldn't before.
Exactly. Now, something else they talked about was using their technology internally.
Oh yeah, to save money.
Right. Alex Karp said they've been using AI and large language models to make things more efficient and cut costs.
Which makes sense.
Right. It shows they believe in their own tech. And it lets them test and improve their products in the real world.
It's like a constant feedback loop.
Yeah, where using AI internally makes their products even better.
So they're not just selling AI, they're using it themselves.
And that focus on efficiency helps them keep those high margins.
Like we talked about before.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Speaking of focus, I noticed they talked a lot about speed and agility.
It's like they're still a startup even though they're a huge company.
Yeah, they haven't lost that drive to innovate.
Which is impressive.
And you see it in how quickly they're adopting AI.
And their willingness to partner and deliver results fast.
It shows how adaptable they are.
Definitely, they're not afraid to try new things and make big decisions.
You know, when you look at everything together, the financials, the AI strategy, the partnership.
It's like Palantir is playing a different game.
They're not just competing, they're changing the whole market.
And that brings me to something Alex Karp said.
Okay.
He said, the AI revolution isn't just about technology. It's a philosophical shift, too.
It's about rethinking how we work and what intelligence even means.
Yeah, and those questions are only going to get bigger as AI gets more advanced.
It's exciting and a little scary at the same time.
For sure, but one thing's for sure.
What's that?
We're in the middle of a huge technological change.
And Palantir is right at the front of it all.
They're pushing boundaries and making us rethink the future.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Their financials, their AI strategy, their approach to partnerships,
Yeah.
the open source challenge, how they use AI internally, and even the philosophical side of things.
Is there anything else we should talk about before we wrap up? We need to at least touch on their international business.
Right? We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, and while their U.S. business is doing incredibly well, their international revenue only grew by 8% year over year.
So are they moving away from international markets?
Not really. They actually talked about how they see huge opportunities internationally in the long term.
Especially in defense and intelligence.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to remember, Palantir is strategic about how they grow.
It's not about chasing every opportunity.
Right, they're focused on those deep, impactful partnerships in the markets they care about most.
But we might see them really push international expansion in the coming quarters.
Yeah, especially as they solidify things in the U.S.
That makes sense.
Before we finish up, I wanted to mention Alex Karp's comment about the philosophy of AI again.
Yeah, that really stuck with me too.
It makes you realize that AI isn't just about technology, it's about what it means to be human in a world where more and more things are automated.
And as AI gets more advanced, these questions are only going to become more important.
Yeah, things like the nature of work, the role of human intelligence.
And even if AI could change how we understand consciousness itself.
It's exciting and a little bit scary to think about all the possibilities.
For sure. But one thing's for certain, we're living in a time of incredible technological change.
Absolutely. And companies like Palantir are right there at the forefront.
They're not just building AI, they're changing what's possible.
And forcing us to rethink the future.
This has been a fascinating look at Palantir's latest earnings report.
It really has.
What's the biggest thing you're taking away from all of this?
I think it's that Palantir is showing the real value of AI.
They're getting results for their clients and they're shaping the future.
Exactly.
And they're doing it with a solid strategy, strong financial performance, and a commitment to pushing the limits of what AI can do.
Absolutely.
So as we look ahead to next quarter with their big push in the U.S. and all these government contracts, I'm wondering what new markets and partnerships might Palantir target next?
That's a great question, and I'll be watching closely to see what they do.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Palantir's Q3 2024 earnings.
Until next time, stay curious.